Ladies and gentlemen, how are we doing tonight, this morning, this evening, afternoon, whenever you're listening? It's live right now. It's tonight. So, it is your boy, your host, your humble, gracious host, Matty Ice, the Lion Slayer, if you will. And back to another podcast for you guys. It's gonna be a good episode. We have, I think like the last 2 days has been a lot more news than like the whole week. Mandalorian talk, obviously, that's going to be an every week thing until that show's done. A couple good talking points we should go through. We'll get to them. But gentlemen, tell me, outside of seeing me slay the beast, how has your week gone? We'll start with you, Andrew.
Week's been good, very busy, productive, and I wanted to share something that I think is pretty funny because I'm going to keep doing it until I finally see this person watch our stream. So for the last 5 weeks, I've invited my buddy to come watch a stream, and he hasn't done it yet. I share it to him right before we start every time. He hasn't said a word to me about it, but I'm going to keep doing it until he finally gets on and I see him in the chat. Yes. So we'll see how long it takes because I'm going to just keep sending it to him. He's got his notifications off right now, and I did the loud notification to send it to.
What's his name?
His name is Jacob Keck.
Oh, hey, that guy.
Don't be a jabroni, Jake. I don't know who you are, bro, man, but tune in.
Yeah.
Say something. Let's do this.
Yeah.
He wants to know how to make it stop. You just got to say something in the chat.
He's a friend.
Man. Do a like, a follow, a share, and then you are off the hook. My name is Steven, the good-looking one. I had a great weekend. Went to the zoo. Me and Matt, dominated that zoo. I think we saw every animal twice.
Yeah.
We got our steps in. The highlight of my week so far has been Sunday hanging out with Matt, sharing a chocolate cake shake. It was delicious. Yeah. It was like this is a PG-13 show, so I'm not going to say anything, but it was the closest thing to perfection. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Portillo's, recommend you go to Portillo's, order the chocolate shake. You will get type 1 diabetes at the end of it, so you get to leave with something.
Worth it. It's worth it.
Delicious. Definitely not nutritious, but delicious.
Did you guys drink from separate straws at the same time?
Different drinks altogether, but
yeah,
everybody.
When you said share, I thought you meant like a lady in the
truck. No, we were broing it up, bro. We were Stone Cold Steve Austin, just tapping lids and smashing on shakes. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah. I mean, sounds like it was a good week. I have had the pleasure this week to come face to face with a lion. I've been talking that talk. I've heard the words on the streets about how the lion beast has been running his mouth, showed up to his doorstep. It wasn't pretty for him. I'll say that much. I don't think he's going to have kids anytime soon. So with that being said, if you want to see me tame the beast, slay the beast, the proof is there. He's out cold. He hasn't budged since I was there. It's on Instagram. I believe it's slightly unqualified as just our Instagram handle. So if you go there, you can see me and my result video. The fight was a little too violent, on my end to him. I didn't want to show the kids that animal abuse is okay. So it was a post-fight interview, and Instagram.com/ or at slightly unqualified. You can find me there, and you'll see the results of it. With that being said, gentlemen, let's dive right into the thick of it. I think we start with the biggest conversation piece we're going to have, as in the most time. So we're going straight to Mando. Straight to Mando. So I watched Mandalorian today, finished that episode. I think it was episode 5, I think. Yeah, 5. Something like that. 5, yeah. Good episode, gentlemen. Initial thoughts, and then we'll get into the weeds of it. I'll start with you, Steven. Initial thoughts on this episode.
Initial thoughts on this episode where I like where they're going. I was stoked when they gave the speech, when Mando gave that speech, and it didn't look like it was going his direction. I like that. What's his name? I always say his name weird.
Pav Isla.
Yeah. I'm glad he stood up. At first I thought he was going to go against him, but it got me all like, yeah, let's do this.
Yeah.
And then at the end, cliffhanger, loved it. I loved it.
Yes. Edgar initial thoughts.
I thought it was a good episode. I enjoyed it. Unlike Steven, I saw that twist coming. I knew that Pat was gonna just. I knew he was gonna side on the side of Mando because considering everything that had happened. I have an interesting take. I like the episode. I'm kind of all done with like the space pirate stuff though.
Yes. Okay. Why?
I don't know. I feel like I really like the Western aspect of Mandalorian, and it feels like the space pirates is like a little bit of a turn away from that. But
interesting.
And honestly, I could not take that Pirate King guy seriously. Like every time I saw him,
Davy Jones.
Yeah, he just like he's not only Davy Jones, he's like Ross Davy Jones, Waller Tree Davy Jones. Like, I mean, he looks good, but he looks like an idiot. Like, coming down, it takes me out of it because I'm like, who is this? Like,
yeah. So, my initial thoughts. Good episode. The space, the space pirate stuff, and I kind of agree to Andrew's point here, was the distraction of the episode. There was a lot to unpack there, and they kind of just fit it around this thing that it was kind of stale, in my opinion. So getting into a couple things, citing back to about 2 weeks ago, maybe last week, what Andrew said about the fight scenes and everything like that. They're not getting any better. This when they take the town back, it wasn't very exciting or exhilarating. It kind of was like corny in a way. Like when they had, it's funny when Mando fights by himself, it's not corny, or Mando like one other person. But then like when it's everyone else and like the way they're fighting, like the move, like when they got boxed in, that was like the cheesiest thing in the world.
Yeah.
And then when Pad Vizsla comes in on the jetpack, and you guys seen Aquaman? You've seen Aquaman.
Yeah.
Remember that time where like the very first thing, he just drops in and he flips his hair back and he's like, "Permission to board." That's what it felt like. It felt like that same kind of scene where like Pad Vizsla comes down and has this big giant gun.
Yeah.
Where were you in the first place? Yeah. First off, you have an entire company down here getting trapped in. But I digress to that. But I also noticed something very, very, very interesting, and it goes back to what Andrew said last week, our whole debate about the pregnancy thing. She didn't rub her stomach one time this episode.
I knew it was
time.
After it was over, I was like, Andrew, I'm putting his theory out the window. That was a terrible.
Didn't rub it once. Didn't rub it once. And two, when he said, "What's the point of bringing her back?" last week, my answer was probably bring Moff Gideon back. And spoilers for what's coming ahead. Guess who's coming back most likely? Moff Gideon. Like I've been telling you. The whole episode that we had there was to show that there's still a loyal person within the Republic, loyal to the Old Republic, or not the Old Republic, the Empire. Yeah, sorry. Right. Boom. Case over. Get Ray out of here. Get the pregnancy BS out of here. It was a reach before. Gosh. It for sure is a reach now.
It's definitely reaching. He's pulling his back with that reach.
Yes. My second initial thoughts. That was my first initial thoughts. That's crazy.
Yeah.
My second initial thoughts was I'm conflicted. When I saw Mandalorian give his speech and then Pad Vizsla come in and everything like that, I saw what I thought was going to come true, which is what I said in the very, very first episode, which was I think he's going to be the one to lead the Mandalorian people, and he's going to win them over, and he's going to be the one that they want to rally behind. And they literally did it this episode. It did take some more convincing, but at the end of the day, Pad Vizsla said, for those of you that are on the fence, he's the guy we should be following because he saved my life and he didn't give up on my son, as well as Bo-Katan, obviously. We'll get to her. Then my third initial thoughts with the whole Bo-Katan thing. We've seen this twice and she's failed twice. I don't think we need to see the same story from her over and over again where she tries to rally Mandalorians together and become their leader. Get it done with and either do it or don't. Quit bringing it back up.
Okay, so I was surprised. So when I watched this, I thought you would have been like, okay, this is cool, because it almost felt like she's getting her send-off in this series to announce that she's getting her own spin-off where she's finding it. Like that was the vibe that I was getting. And as I was watching, I'm like, oh, I bet you Matt's over there, like, oh yeah, it's happening.
Yes, yes, and that would be great. That my only thing here with this is right now, this is where the line in the sand is drawn. Either give her control of Mandalorian people and make her their leader, or don't. Stop doing this same. Oh, I was a leader, then I failed. Leader, then I failed. I don't want to see it again. So if this is going to be the third time you're going to go with this story with Bo-Katan, which if they're going to be a spin-off show, I'm all for it. I love her character. The actress plays her incredibly well. But this is it. Wherever she goes with this storyline or this spin-off show, this is it. Keep her there and keep her pushing forward beyond this, wanting to be the leader of Mandalore all over again. I just don't need to see that again. And if they're going to do it this time, this is the last time they should do it, in my opinion.
I agree with that. No one wants to see it's the same story over again. You know what I mean? Also, too, if they take her out of the show now to give her a spinoff, I think it was just a waste of a season. You know what I mean? Like, true. I feel like we're how many episodes left? 3 episodes left. 3. And the only thing you've told us so far is that there's a dinosaur at the bottom of Mandalore. There's the pirate, the Power Ranger pirates are there, and then wait until next spring when she gets her own spinoff. You know what I mean? Like besides that, that's the only thing you've told us. I do too agree with you, Matt and Andrew, about the whole pirate thing. I actually thought it was cool the way the captain looked. I just thought he just wasn't necessary. You know what I mean? Like,
that's what I was going to say.
Cool. It's cool that they came together and they used the pirate thing in, but
that was the reason to rally them under one unifying word.
I thought it was.
But it almost felt like they didn't have anybody to do it, so they were like, "We need something."
Yeah, I feel like
how about a space pirate?
Yeah, I feel like there might be 1 or 2 episodes too late of Moff Gideon. If Moff Gideon was here establishing this in the secret hiding place, and this is my big coming out party is on this city where I got defeated before, that would be a better reason to rally and have an excuse to do this than just having a space pirate that we're probably not gonna. We might see again, but not in a major role. It reminds me of like, remember Hondo from Rebels? He was a bad guy and a big bad guy for like 3 episodes, and then like he just became like a joke character, and we all love him. I think everyone loves him if you ever watched Rebels.
Yeah.
But we don't take him serious in the character pool anymore.
Right.
It's like they created a character for Disneyland. You know what I mean? Like when you go to Galaxy Edge, you're gonna see a guy running around, the guy who hates Mando. You know what I mean? Who's not big, scary, but yet
good point.
It's he's there. I still think if they were smart, they should have done some maybe rogue old like Empire like troopers that didn't leave. You know what I mean? That were still buzzing around and causing trouble. Yeah, I think that would have been a better way of doing this. That way, it kind of leads into Gideon saying like, "Oh, they still have a presence." You know what I mean? But real quick, I had a question. I kind of noticed because the guy Zeb from Rebels is in there, and I was hearing some other people. Yeah, he was dope. That scene was fire.
He looked so good. Like,
he did, and that's what I'm about to say. Do you think that Star Wars' graphics, like they're animated? I don't want to hate animated. What would you call him? Like, because he was CG. It's so crazy to me that Star Wars' CG is so good, where like She-Hulk and like Black Widow, there's certain CG scenes that were terrible, and I know they had a bigger budget, but why is it that Star Wars killed that, dude? You know what I mean? Like. The captain looked good. Zeb looked good. Different things look really good, but Marvel didn't hit that. You know what I mean?
So we kind of talked about this a couple weeks ago, and I think a lot of it, like if you were to take budgets to a feature length film and episodes, I think what you're seeing is that window is basically narrowing. To where, and if you remember, we talked about how we're not getting as many episodes, but we're getting higher quality.
What is this for Mando?
I think just for TV shows going forward, they realize that they can't cut corners. Like if you think of like the Arrowverse, like you get tons and tons of episodes, but that CG is so bad.
Yeah, Flash has gone out of control. That makes me so sad. I love that show.
Yeah, I'm just there's plenty of other shows that it's in the same boat where you watch an explosion, you're like,
Supergirl. Oh, the whole CW universe at this point.
mm-hmm. So the point I'm trying to make is I think that Disney, Star Wars, Lucas, I think they realize that, hey, this is such I would even say Marvel realizes this too, that this is such a high priority or high grossing IP that we can't cut shortcuts and do half quality CG. Especially like with Star Wars, because Star Wars, if you think about it, like they're known for cutting edge, breaking through. Like it would feel like a big step backwards if they were like, "Here's some crappy CG."
Yeah, my 2 cents on this is the reason why Marvel misses the mark and Star Wars can is because of the amount of content coming out. Star Wars almost doesn't have enough content coming out, so much so that they're telling Kathleen Kennedy, "Hey, if you don't have a movie out, written an original story written, produced, and out, and by 2025 you're gone." Like it's the complete opposite of Marvel. They're like, "We need one next month if you can," and you can see it at this year's a proven point of I think Disney's last CEO, Bob Chapek, he just pushed the Marvel button far too much to push out too many things for it to be a good quality product, right? We had 2 movies a year before. We have like 3 or 4 now, and like 2 or 3 shows for Marvel. That's a lot of work to be done, and not a lot of time to do it. And I think they just overstretch the resources rather than their budget being low or like missing the mark. They just couldn't get stuff done fast enough,
right?
Which is why you see them this year slowing down a lot. Like only 2 shows instead of 4, and like 2 movies. Which Ant-Man and the Wasp looked good. Like it.
I thought it was good.
And Loki's probably gonna look great. And so the opposite front of Star Wars is like, hey, here's $120 million, and they spend like 10 of it a year because they have one product coming out and one lower end product. Like Bad Batch probably doesn't cost as much to run at this point. So I think one's just run super thin, and they're trying to collectively get that backed in to get better quality content, which Marvel has addressed that already. And Star Wars is the opposite. They're like, hey, Ahsoka might come out this year, but like it might not, even though like they announced it for this year. And they're putting pressure on Kathleen Kennedy to put something out. Like not having a Star Wars film out since Rise of Skywalker it's kind of insane. Given how big that
is
is.
Insane.
So I think Disney's looking at their content stuff and saying, well, if we cut out 3 Marvel films a year, or even 1 Marvel film a year and 2 shows, we can influx it with the lack of shows coming from Star Wars. So it balances out in Disney's eyes. They just need to put the fire on Kathleen Kennedy to do something.
Yeah,
and they have. They basically told her, hey, if there's nothing out by 20, if not a movie out by 20, that's crazy to say, by the way. Written, casted, production, pre-production, post-production. If the movie isn't complete by Christmas of 2025, you're gone. That's a big ultimatum to have. That's a lot of pressure on someone to like that. Even that 2-year mark that we're talking.
Does that make you skeptical though?
Of getting Kathleen Kennedy out?
No, of getting a movie out.
No.
There's that much pressure and time to.
I would say
like,
a little bit. I think it does, because like just what Matt said right now, Marvel's storyline, Matt, you would agree with this, that their Marvel storyline is beautiful. The way they introduce King, they have it laid out, right? They know what they're going to be going with. Star Wars looks beautiful, but their story is all over the place. You know what I mean? And I have a problem with the state of Star Wars' story right now. Because right now it's Mando. Mando's a story. Bad Batch is pretty much done. Mando's good, and Bad Batch is good.
Mandor
is good, but those stories can't keep continuing. They're kind of done. You know what I mean?
Baby Grogu, 550 years from now.
I don't want that. I don't want Andrew's thought process in this. I wanted to mute him because I don't want to hear Grogu in 55 years.
Yeah, I don't.
You know what I mean? I don't want to see that.
Years. Get it right. 500.
Then he would be older than Yoda, but.
No, you wouldn't. Yoda was 900.
You sure? I thought Yoda was like 500. Either way.
Potato, potato. We don't want to see it. Is what we're trying to say.
Yeah, we don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. And I also don't want to see Rey with her grandkids or something. Go get away from this. Go to the inner rim or go to the outer rim. Something. You know what I mean?
Go to what you have. If you don't want to continue forward with what you already did, don't. Go back to the Old Republic.
Mm-hmm.
Go back to that stage. The High Republic. You have 200-year eras you could pull from that are all original, that in the canon of Disney has been cut out, which means you have a fresh slate to literally build up 400 years worth of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you start in the Old Republic and start from the basis of that and then get through the High Republic and then all the way through, you have at least, and this is going to sound crazy to say, but you have at least 20 years of content you could pull from. And by then, the Skywalkers can be not forgotten about because they're the basis of things. Okay. But like, for example, in 2 years, not having Tony Stark or Iron Man is going to be, okay, cool. We're not going to have them anymore, but we're moving on to bigger and better things now.
Right.
And they just keep doing this stupid thing where they want to like talk about a Skywalker every 2 seconds. I don't, and I have 2 friends who are very, 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 very much in love with Star Wars, and and we debate one specific thing, and they always say Star Wars is the Skywalkers, and I always say that's because they make it, not because like it has to be. They're like, and then I used Mando as like an example one time, and one of them said, well, Luke showed up. And I said, but the driving force of the story was not anything to do with the Skywalker. Was a Skywalker in there? Was it mentioned? Yes. But if Luke was not in there, that story would still go flawlessly. And that's what I'm talking about. You don't have to just ignore that the Skywalkers ever existed, but you don't have to have everything going back to this centric storyline. Like
100%. I agree 100% with that.
Yeah,
you're right, Andrew. Yoda died around 900.
Yeah, I know I'm right. I know my facts.
I just want to kick him out right now.
I do too. I just want to disconnect his internet and just be like,
that's not even his real house in the background.
It is. It's literally noon o'clock right now.
But at daytime outside, I say good night.
Yeah, it's weird. I bet you don't even know how to play the piano.
So I actually do. So
I bet you do.
Coming back to the episode, what did you guys think about asking Bo to take off the helmet?
I thought the Forgers were gonna do it too.
I know.
I thought they were gonna walk out and everyone would be like, and she's gonna be like, boop.
This is the way, yeah.
But I also think this is gonna sound like not crazy, but the savior complex of like, what let's talk about like the original savior, right? And whether you believe in Christianity or God or not, Jesus is like the savior, like what's the word, like pedestal, right? And the basis of him was that he walked both. He was able to live in spirit and also able to walk the land. So if they're giving Bo-Katan the savior complex, it's like spot on. One that can still be within the way, but also be within without the way. Like she can do both. Therefore, she is the one to lead because she understands both sides now. So I get it. Yeah. And it's almost more impactful of her when she takes her helmet off and no one else does. It's almost more impactful to how important she is now to the Mandalorian people. Where if this Forge lady who they've been listening to declares her to be the person that's going to lead all of Mandalore, and she's okay with her helmet coming off because she can walk both worlds, as they say in the show, that is almost a more powerful underlying message than if everyone took their helmet off and followed Bo-Katan. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was surprised. I thought the armor was gonna do it too.
Yeah,
I thought
she was.
Do it. I just said this last week. Dang it!
Do you know how mad Din would have been?
Yeah,
we've been like, really? I almost drowned at the bottom.
Go through all of that.
Uh-huh.
The other thing that I wanted to bring up is, man, the New Republic freaking sucks,
dude.
Like,
well,
they suck.
Qui-Gon Jinn and Count Dooku have always said it, that they veered off the way of politics because politics get in the way of the right thing, and they both did it. They both went separate ways. One went to the light side, one went to the dark. But the point is, they both trusted in something other than a political spectrum, and they trusted in what was the right thing to do whenever it was the right thing to do it. That's why I don't know if you guys agree with this or not. I think Steven does. So I always say, Jedis are not the good guy. They're not the bad guy, but they're not the good guy. The good guy is the
Yeah.
Qui-Gon Jinns. It's the Count
Totally.
Dooku's. Like,
It's the dude. Yeah,
yeah,
it's the dudes that
It's
the dark
the
Revan.
ones that
you
are
know what I mean?
willing to follow the will of the Force, not
Yes.
not a code,
yes,
not a republic. They follow the will.
right.
No, I totally
Jedi,
agree with that too.
Jedi were blinded by the Republic. That's
Dude,
the whole
if you
point of the
think about it,
prequels.
Yoda literally got full of himself and couldn't see Sidious. You know what I mean? That's how far up the political
Not even just
ladder
couldn't
they were.
see him.
Didn't
In
realize.
High Republic comic books,
Yeah.
they have it established lore that he literally operated underneath the Jedi Temple.
Mhm.
Like you can't feel that right underneath your feet. There's a dark side because you're so blinded by the politics of the Republic and following their orders versus the will of the Force. And
Mhm.
The dude also had Sith memorabilia in his office.
in his office,
While he was meeting with Jedi. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
Yeah,
the person,
that's
I'm like, I wonder who the serial killer is. The guy with a whole bunch of knives and blood hanging on the
Right.
wall. And like, nah, it couldn't be that guy. You know what I mean?
but that's
like,
part of it. Is they were so dogmatic that they wouldn't learn anything of it. So
Yeah.
even though it was staring them right in the face,
Yeah, definitely.
nobody knew.
Especially when you if I don't know if you've read it yet, Andrew or Matt. When you read Bloodline, it's a great book to read before watching Force Awakens because it
canon?
breaks. Yeah, it's canon. It's canon. It came out about 4 years ago, and it's really good. Like it, and if you like the political aspect of it, it has to do a lot with Princess Leia and when it
Oh
happened.
yeah. This is after the Battle of Yavin.
Yeah, this is
Okay.
6 years, about 6 years before
Before the Force
Awakens.
Awakens. Yeah,
It is really good. The audiobook version, the lady's voice kind of irritated me, so it sucks because I hate reading, but I had to read it. And it was really good. I think where they're going with the New Republic, you are gonna hate them 10 times more after reading that book.
Mhm.
They just dropped the ball so much.
Yeah,
But it's a pretty good book.
I mean, it's evident in the First Order taking over.
Yeah.
They fell yet again.
Mhm.
So let's pivot. I think Mando is good. I think
Yep.
we're in a point right now where there's storylines starting to form versus the first 3 episodes or 4 episodes that can lead to the ending of it.
Building.
Clearly no pregnancies in this episode.
Yeah, I didn't see anything. Nobody.
So sticking to the Marvel conversation, this one's gonna be brief and quick because not a lot of details out.
Marvel
But quick 2 minutes on Jonathan Majors. We saw, I don't know when it was, sometime in the last couple of days or
Mhm.
last week,
Over
something
the
like
weekend, I think.
that. Over the weekend, yeah. He was arrested in Vegas, I think. Arrested somewhere for strangulation. It's not funny. It's not funny. It's just when you read the headline, it's nuts. For strangling a woman and assault and harassment or something like that. Since the arrest, the woman has come out and, well, not come out publicly, but has redacted her statements. Not just redacted, but I forgot what the word was, where she completely says that everything that was stated was false. Not that she didn't remember, not that she misremembered, that she could clearly, visibly say everything that was said was incorrect.
Mhm.
So my initial thoughts, I'll go first, and let you guys take over from there. My initial thoughts was, damn, Marvel has a 10-year plan, just got thrown out the window.
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
if he would have been,
I was a little
if he would have
nervous.
even been charged with those, it would have been a wrap, dude. And and here's the other thing about Majors, he's going on a historic run right now, like
Mhm.
historic run.
cleaning
My
house.
first thought was like, man, you took Creed a little too serious, bro. Like they stopped filming a few months ago, you know.
Method
So
acting.
yeah, I was scared, man, because I really, not just like as Kang and everything I've seen of him. There's a movie called Devotion, The Harder They Fall, Lovecraft County back when it was first big. He's just a damn good actor, and
Mhm.
he has killed it as Kang so far. So I was like, my little Marvel story's gone, which is the least of my concern. Our prayers to the woman. I hope she's going through healing and whatever it is that happened or didn't
Yeah,
happen.
definitely.
That's up to them too to figure out. But I was sad for Marvel storyline, and then yesterday, or 2 days ago, she redacted all her statements and said it was false. Today or yesterday, the lawyer put out screenshots of text messages that came from her to Jonathan Majors, saying that she made sure the judge and everybody knew that it was a misunderstanding and that the initial call wasn't even by her; it was from him. to call because she had passed out or something like that. Lawyers also said there's going to be evidence coming out, video evidence from like the vehicle situation that would also clear his name. So it seems like a lot of cleanup work is being done. I mean, how involved Marvel is with the cleanup, I have no clue.
Right.
How involved money is with the cleanup, I have no clue. But it seems like things were just either misunderstood or taken out of context. And the initial reason why it happened was because she took his phone after she had seen him texting another woman. So in real man fashion, he took that thing back real quick and tried to hide it. Gentlemen's thoughts on the initial, thoughts on the post, and thoughts on going forward with Marvel and Jonathan Majors.
Go for it, Andrew.
Yeah, I think I read the article and I was like, dang, like hopefully this isn't like the dawning of Ezra Miller 2.0.
Oh,
Like, oh man. My initial thought was like, is there something that goes behind the scenes in either like the stress of being an actor or actress that just kind of causes people to go crazy? Because like you said, everything that I've seen him in, the man's been flawless. Like he's done really, really great work. So I was really nervous that he could potentially get canceled or that he could get fired from Marvel.
Yeah. And not to intervene here, but real quick, also like his interviews he does, he's very like well spoken, like well mannered. Like, please, thank you. It was just a shock to me that like he seemed like the cleanest, most polished guy you can find.
Right.
And then this happens. But go ahead.
I mean, that's basically it. Like I that was my thought is this something that's happening more and more commonly? Like,
it's a good talking point for next week.
Yeah, it is.
Table that one for next week for sure.
Tabled.
Then we can get like actual like evidential actors rise and fall. Ezra Miller, like for example.
Yeah, 100%.
We can get guys that like rose again. RDJ.
Yeah, RDJ.
Yeah, so it's a good topic.
So what I read a couple different articles and I was talking to Matt about it a little before we started going. Some of the stuff looked a little biased, so I kind of wasn't like taking it into consideration. But he was arrested in New York, and New York's policy is somebody has to go to jail. So somebody has to get arrested. So the cops arrested him, and he was super cool about it. They said that he was like, "Yep, I'll definitely. I'm not fighting back. I'm not resisting." They said that he wasn't like enraged or anything like that. So they said that he came into custody, calm, cool, and collective. So I would believe that, he's innocent. But yeah, let the system do their thing, figure that out.
Yeah, it seems like it seems like it's trending towards his way. If there is this footage that comes out and it clears him, then I think you give it a month or two and it's cleared under the rug. What really bothered me though, and this is a different conversation to have for a different day, I think, was there is video evidence of Dana White punching a girl in the face. And he got punches whoever it is, punching a woman in the face. And there was nothing for him. There was outrage for like a day or two. He had a press conference that said, "I'm not getting punished for anything. You can't touch me." And then he walked away. But as soon as this news came out, they were immediate to say it's time for him to go. Marvel's stuck and out of luck for 10 years. And it's just interesting dynamic there. I'm not trying to say too much into it. Dana White has control of his own career. Jonathan Majors doesn't. So there's a difference there. But the outrage and outcry is very different.
Not to get too political, but when you mentioned that the other day, I think we were at the zoo when you mentioned that. Yeah. I was like, man, that is crazy. Dana White didn't have to answer for that or nothing, man.
Nothing.
Even if it's your wife, that's ridiculous. You can't put your hand on a lady. But then I was thinking about it. So I looked up events that happened on the day that Dana White went through that. And there was so much political and like Ukraine stuff. Something happened where ESPN and them talked about it at like 9:00 at night. And then the next day, nothing. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's crazy.
Just interesting to think about. That's all. So let's stick on the topic of movies for now and stuff like that.
Oh, we can get away from Marvel. I just had one thing.
Yeah.
Jeremy Renner. I think hopefully I'm saying his last name right.
Yeah, his interview coming out.
Yeah, he has an interview coming out. They posted some videos of him doing pretty good in therapy.
That's good.
So
really
prayers, thoughts, everything out to him and his family. That's awesome. That he's
for a man who got snowplowed. He's looking pretty good.
Yeah, it looks
it's
good.
only a month away, right? Only a month after. It's impressive.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And a man that almost died. Like he almost died. Like he was on critical condition for a day or two. Yeah. Shout out to Jeremy Renner. Prayers up to him and his family. I'm glad he's doing great. I'm glad he is okay. Movies aside, he's a human being that it's just seems like a stand-up kind of guy. So
Yeah.
I'm glad he's doing okay and his family's okay with him and everything like that. Excited to see his interview. I'm interested to see
I'm very excited to see
like
it.
what not what he says, what they ask him. Like it's it's a unique situation where he's gonna have a lot of insight and perspective for like from a life flash from my eyes kind of standpoint. But then what do you go from there? It's only about 30-minute
I
conversation.
feel like I saw a snippet of it and it was interesting. Like the little clip that I saw, he was, and rightly so, he was getting emotional, but he apologized to his family for like having them like having to
Go through that.
put them through that.
Yeah.
And I was like, dang, that's like an interesting perspective that like a lot of people I feel like would be the woe is me or like this happened to me.
Yeah.
But he was like took the opposite of that and was like,
True.
Yeah.
you know, I'm sorry that my family had to be worried about me, or I'm sorry that they, you know, had to see me like that, or, you know, that they had to fear that, you know, I was gone. Like that, that's
it's heavy.
Commendable.
Yeah, man. Especially when you almost die and you're helping somebody else not die. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You save the guy. Like that's a hero in my book, man. I don't care how you chalk it up, even if it was a mistake when you fell or whatever it was. That dude, tip. If I could buy that man a beer, I would definitely buy that man a beer.
Definitely. I remember when it first came out, I was super concerned just because I thought like Marvel already lost a superstar like way too soon. Not just Marvel, but the world. And this guy is in Mayor of Kingstown as well for Paramount. That's a damn good show. So there's actors that are kind of past their heyday. When they die, it's like, okay, not that you're old or say that you're like your career doesn't matter anymore, but it's different when someone's at the peak of their career in any career really, and they pass away like that. So, shout out Jeremy Renner, guy's doing fine. Pushing into the next topic. Movies, sticking in that same direction. This one should be really brief and quick. Wes Anderson has a movie coming out called Asteroid City, and I showed you guys the trailer. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's basically a science fiction romance comedy. Wes Anderson, right? A lot of amalgamations of different genres coming together. About like these kids in this town who get together for like a science week, and they end up seeing like a UFO, and the government shuts them down, keeps them in the city for a very long time. If you know Wes Anderson films, they're damn good usually. Fantastic Mr. Fox, Isle of Dogs. One of my favorite movies of all time is Grand Budapest Hotel. This has that same kind of look and tone to it as Wes Anderson films usually do. But let me just read the cast real quick because this is crazy to me. Scarlett Johansson, Tom Hanks, Tilda Swinton, Bryan Cranston, Edward Norton, Adrian Brody, Rupert Friend, Steve Carell, Willem Dafoe, who we didn't even see in the trailer. Margot Robbie also was in the trailer. Tony Revolori was in the trailer for like a brief second. Jeff Goldblum, and
I didn't see him. Was he in the trailer?
He was on the trailer as well, and a ton more. And the crazy part is none of them are the main character. Wild. So star-studded cast made me think of another. Oh yeah, go ahead and play it. Is it muted?
I muted it. Just said I wanted to cut into the audio. If you're on the podcast, we're watching it on Twitch. Sorry about that. We're just gonna walk you through it as we're talking about the trailer.
Yeah, this is the trailer. I mean, it looks good. The tone looks really good. It has that Wes Anderson film feel to it. But it made me think of a competitive approach to film. Last year, I think film was in a down place. There was a lot less movies, therefore a lot less box office numbers. I think this year they're trying to hit it a lot harder. But there's another movie coming out, a star-studded cast. It's a movie that I've talked about before in the past, Oppenheimer. Cillian Murphy, Josh Peck, RDJ, Matt Damon. A cast list so large I can't even name it. Christopher Nolan film. Another Christopher Nolan science film. It's about the making of the nuclear bomb. So it made me think there's two juggernaut directors coming up with this original storyline, that one kind of original for Christopher Nolan's sake, but original screenplay, I'll say, or adaptation of something coming out. One, do we see one or both of these films up for multiple Oscars? Or two, do we see a box office battle of them two being the highest grossing of the year 3, does this reestablish cinema? That's my questions to you guys. We'll let Andrew go first.
I think you'll definitely have like a tug of war between box office performance. I probably guess you're gonna see. I don't know. The Oscars are interesting because in my opinion, it seems like they tend to play like to the indie side of things a little bit more than big budget. But I could see them. I mean, Christopher Nolan, they could go that way. I'm gonna say, just to err on the side of caution, you're gonna see probably a box office tug of war between those two movies. If I was to choose one that's probably gonna get more love from the Oscars, probably go Wes Anderson. It feels more of like an art style of movie, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Well, as far as establishing cinema, I don't think so. I think you have two people that are very good at what they do, but it doesn't necessarily mean it makes the absolute most money, because we've seen that it could be Transformers that makes tons of money, and that's a terrible movie, but it just
does it reestablish the interest of an actual cinematic film, right? I think right now it's the Marvel curse, give and take, right? Scorsese said it best. Because of Marvel, a lot of films lack originality, and they lack original screen. Like the original screenplay stuff isn't there anymore. The cinematic feel to the movies isn't there anymore. I mean, it's clear, it's evident, because they're going for the action packed multi-film franchise.
CG vomit,
because of Marvel. Do these two films pique enough interest for people to say, okay, these artistic directors, the indie film directors, because these two guys started somewhere, and they established themselves as something. Do we look that way more for other original screenplays that are not like already comic based or video game based, that kind of stuff? That's what I'm talking about.
Honestly, I hope so. I wouldn't hold my breath for it, because I think, in a room with three guys who absolutely love movies and love talking about movies, I think for us it means a lot more than your like average movie goer who's there just to watch a movie and learn a story. And this is kind of a little sneak peek to the topic that I wanted to talk about a little bit today.
Yes.
But there's so much more than a movie than just the plot. There's cinematography. There's the music atmosphere. Like, there's a lot of things that goes into it more than just, hey, that was a good story, or hey, that was well written. And I think both of these directors have like really good everything. Vision. I'll call it vision, to where it's
they're directors.
Yeah, but like Michael Bay's a director, but he's
no. They're directors. You know what I mean? Scorsese,
I know,
that's a director. Like,
you didn't let me finish. Like
Francis Ford Coppola, that's a director.
Yeah, but they're looking at it from almost, I feel like, every aspect, versus like your Michael Bay is looking for like, hey, how can I make this cool set piece where things are going to explode? Like, there's directors that see this is my creation versus, hey, this idea would look really cool on screen, and I have to fit the pieces to make it go through to get there. And I don't feel like Christopher Nolan, or I don't feel like he approaches it that way. I feel like he wants, and even Quentin Tarantino.
Tarantino's coming up 1-2 next year, I think.
Yeah, like I watched an interview with him where the thing that excites him about movie making is he likes to make the audience cringe or take them on a journey where they have no idea what's going on, and it's his idea, so he gets to do that, whether it be the grossest thing you've ever seen.
Yeah, we'll get to that next, because it's easy transition for me to make that. So that's what I was going to do next. Thanks for jumping the gun. Steven, thoughts on these two films? And real quick, Andrew, to kind of counter your point of like the Best Picture nominations, there is about 3 or 4 like major motion pictures like that were nominated, and I think Wes Anderson and Nolan will always get that nod anyway, no matter just because of who they are, especially.
Yeah, I think for sure you're gonna get a nomination. I just don't know if they're gonna win it all.
Yeah. Good point. Fair enough. Steven, thoughts on all those things?
Yeah,
for these
I
two
agree.
movies specifically.
Yeah, I agree a lot with Andrew. I think if I had to pick pick one, I think Atomic City. I think is going to
Astro
City. I think it's gonna clean house.
I think
I'm more excited for the other one because I love the storyline. I love that they have killer actors in it. That it piques my interest just as a person. I love that era and that. Yeah, I just love the era that it's taking place in. So I'm gonna go watch that for sure. Do I think they're gonna be the number one and number two? I see one of them being in the top one or two, but not both. They're both stories that I don't think the average moviegoer is gonna go see. You know what I mean?
I think Oppenheimer might be.
With Mario coming out this year, with there's a couple other movies that are just like fun theater movies coming out. I could see some of those doing very well. But what I'm looking forward to this whole year, besides Mario, is going to be Oppenheimer. I think that's going to be the movie that really gets people wanting to take and go multiple times to the movie theater.
Oppenheimer, I think, is going to be something special. This other one too, actually, just the cast alone and them being supporting characters is going to be incredible in my opinion. I mean, Grand Budapest Hotel was it has the same, and they all do, but this there's a different essence of Grand Budapest Hotel, and it won Best Picture, right? So, I just love that movie, and I can't wait to the next version of that movie, which looks like this is going to be it. But to two things. One, Oppenheimer is going to be like 3.5 hours long. I think Nolan's coming for the record for the longest film or something like that. I'm cool with waiting 3.5 hours for a Nolan film. Two, transitioning to a topic Andrew brought up. There is trailers. And there's not just like one trailer. There's a teaser trailer, and then there's like trailer 1, trailer 2, trailer 3.
Final trailer.
Then there's like those super fast cut trailers that are like in between commercials. Like
spots. Yeah, the TV spots.
So Andrew has a thought-provoking question. I'll let him take the reins on this one. He's not the expert of the week, guys. He's just asking a question. That's all he's doing. Andrew, technically, pose your question.
I'm not the expert. So the question that I posed, and before I explain it, here's my thought process on it. So it comes back to Jedi Survivor. So I think last week there was a new trailer that dropped for the Jedi Survivor game, and I really wanted to watch it. But I've had this thought since I've played Hogwarts Legacy, where they had trailers, but they didn't really go into the story. And as I've been playing that game, I've been so excited on just what the story of Hogwarts Legacy has been that I want to do the same thing for Jedi Survivor. And this trailer I saw was titled like storyline trailer. And so I was like, you know what? I'm not going to watch it. Like I'm going to have some self-control and not watch this trailer because one, I really liked Fallen Order.
Yeah, Fallen Order was so good.
Yeah, and the story from Hogwarts has been like so fun just to be like, no idea that was going to happen or no idea that this was going to happen.
How far are you into it?
To Hogwarts?
Yeah.
I'm like at the last mission. Like last story.
Dang. I'm at like maybe 40% of the game. I haven't really been a chance to play. I try to play at midnight.
So it's just been one of those things that's been really cool to kind of see the story come to life versus like seeing a trailer that kind of gives you everything and you're like, okay, here's what I'm looking forward to. Here's what I'm going to be fighting, those kind of things. So the question that I pose is, do trailers effectively hurt or help the gaming, the movie, just that experience? And is it getting to the point where, and this would be like, depending on how I feel after Jedi Survivor happens, if I get that same feeling I'm getting with Hogwarts Legacy, like I think I'm going to try to cut out trailers in my life.
So I've actually had this conversation with Matt. There's a couple guys that I follow on YouTube that I watch their daily videos. Like on my lunch break, I pop it up and I watch it. It's New Rockstar, and then there's a couple other guys I get from where with my movies and video games and stuff like that. I do definitely unfollow those guys so much. Like when I haven't finished Mando or I haven't finished a game, I will unfollow. Like I think it was, I can't remember what movie it was, but I told Matt that I unfollowed him for like 3 weeks because I just hadn't a chance to get to the movie theater and I didn't want anybody to spoil it. And I talked to Matt, usually the only person I talk to about movies. So he's like, hey, I haven't seen it. You haven't seen it. Let's not talk about it. Or you've seen it. I haven't. Let's not talk about it. So with the trailers, that's a good question because there's another channel that I follow that does trailer breakdowns.
Yeah,
and sometimes they ruin it for me because they're like, some guys will be like, there's no more trailer scenes because we've seen everything already.
Right.
And then one guy will be like, no, we haven't seen him at this temple. We haven't seen him there. And it's like, I want to be jaw dropped. I get it. Get me with the hook. Show me Mando walking down. Show me different things. But telling the story, nah, I'm at the age where I want to be. I don't want to have to know. I want to be entertained. So I think right now, I think trailers are ruining it for video games. For movies, totally different. I think it's a totally different like thing in movies. TVs and video games, I don't really care to see. It's more of the movies that I want to watch a good trailer to be like, okay, I want to go see this. The only reason is because I'm going to be investing $60, $70 at the movie theater. And I don't want to go and be like, damn, I just wasted two hours of my life that I can't get back.
Going to?
You know what I mean?
No, just like theater?
So
no, well, like think about it. I have my kids I usually bring with me, and then I get popcorn and stuff. It's
keep it home.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Sorry, kids, not going this time.
Not no, this like time, boys.
So I think there are, and again, I think it comes down to filmmakers, the type of movie. Like again, Gravity is a great example. I feel like you watch the whole movie within the trailer.
Yeah.
But even this Wes Anderson trailer that we just watched, like I took away a couple different things than what Matt was talking about. I almost get the vibe that like this is like an experimental group that they're doing like psychological tests on to see like if we like almost like a vibe from what's that movie?
The Truman Show.
The Truman Show. Yeah, exactly. Like,
yeah, that's kind of what I got from it.
Like what makes these people tick. So I think trailers can be done right, but I specifically around like blockbusters, I feel like they're showing too much. And I think for games, it's the same way where it's like, and again, like if you go look up the most recent trailer for the Star Wars Survivor, it says like storyline trailer. Like I don't want to know that. Like,
yeah,
that seems weird to me. What are your thoughts on it,
Matt? For gaming or just in general?
Both in general.
Yeah, for both of them.
Okay, so I think misleading trailers. Okay, it's the all-encompassing thing is hard for me because misleading trailers is no fault with people that put the movie out. So like in the case of like Gravity, for example, you feel like you watch the whole movie just by watching the trailer or whatever. That's not a fault of the trailer itself.
True.
I think this is gonna I think trailers these days review a lot less than they did back in the 80s and 90s. Or even in the 2000s. If you watch like Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, basically the whole thing is in the trailer. Good movie still. You watch the new Indiana Jones that just came out. I don't know what it's about. So I don't think trailers for movies have ruined anything, in my opinion.
Here's my counter to that. The 80s and the 90s, the only real place you were watching trailers was in the theaters, going to see another movie. The fact that it's so readily available right now to where people can watch it 1,000 times, dissect it, edit it to where they can slow it down and see things.
No fault of the trailers or the people that make the trailers. That's just the disadvantage of technology. Like it's like I don't know how to explain it, but the trailer is not at fault for people to do with the trailer. It, in the case of like Marvel, for example, like I personally, when No Way Home was having like their press run, I stayed away from most trailers because I knew that was going to be a special film just from what I had a hunch over. But even if you go back to the trailers now, outside of like the one flaw that trailer in Japan or whatever had, there was no indication of even the storyline. We didn't know why they were there. We didn't know how they were there. We didn't know why only 3 of them were fighting him. We didn't even know like Green Goblin was in it until like the last trailer. So I just think it's low. You like it's not the trailers aren't it's not the trailers. It's in tandem with, like Steven said, watching these people every day a week who break down trailers to a T, like frame by frame. Right. And even then, I'd garner to bet that if the majority of Steven's people he watches, or whoever we watch, I don't watch anybody that does trailer breakdowns just because it's not my cup of tea, but I don't blame anybody who does. But I can guarantee you, the very first iteration of a trailer breakdown they did for, like, let's say Ant-Man and the Wasp probably wasn't spot on to what that movie actually ended up being.
Not even close. Yeah, you nailed that.
So it's not what ruins it for me, and what I think we're on the same page with Andrew is when these content creators that do that hype up a certain thing that's not even going to be present in the film or in the TV show. It's like WandaVision, for example, when someone like a breakdown of like her title sequence in the very first episode, and there was like Grim Reaper and an iteration of Nightmare and so from episode 1 going forward, we're expecting Grim Reaper, Nightmare, Mephisto, when that wasn't the case. And if you watch that show from a different lens of like not having that information even available to you, then it's probably a much better show. So like I'm not going to say that they don't overhype things, or they don't like underdeliver on things based off of trailers, because they do. I just don't think it's a fault of the actual motion picture itself making the trailer. It's everybody else that has eyes on it.
Yeah, I would agree 100% with
for gaming. How Steven feels about movie trailers, I feel like that about gaming. I need to see a good gameplay trailer before I even think about buying a game.
So is it a gameplay trailer, or is it, like I said, a story trailer that you're looking for?
They go in, well, I don't play many story games, so they don't. But to me, they go in tandem. I'm not gonna. If you know nothing about Hogwarts Legacy, like I know that, like if I knew nothing about it, for example, like me, I know you guys are big Harry Potter fans, but I could care less about Hogwarts Legacy. But now that I've seen gameplay of it and there's an ongoing storyline that's actually pretty compelling, I'm more interested in it than before. And I can say the same for you guys about Call of Duty, for example. Like I don't have to see a Call of Duty trailer to play it, but I know Andrew's dead set on making sure Zombies is good. Therefore, let me see the trailer and let me see the gameplay for Zombies, so I know I'm not going to waste my $60. That's how I feel about gaming specifically. TVs and movies, I'm okay with watching all those. Yeah.
But like I said, I feel like as of recent, specifically like in the gaming realm, like I feel like I've had like a change in that, to where if I see just like a mechanics, a gameplay, like this is what the game's going to look like, but not necessarily what the storyline is, that could sell me by itself.
Yeah, gameplay. I want to try to sell me.
Yeah, like I want to try to stay away from like this is what the story is. This is who you're going to see.
But there are games that like have done that for me as well. Like I'll give you, like Marvel Spider-Man. I saw him fight one time and swing in the city, and I was like, I don't need to see anything else. But on the flip side of that, when there are story-based games where the story is kind of important, like I don't know how important Hogwarts Legacy is for the story. It seems like you can do a lot of like open world stuff.
The story is massive in my opinion.
Yeah, massive. Like, but you look at like Arkham Knights, for example, or you look at even remember that game Stray that just came out with the cat. I have no interest in Stray unless I know there's actual a story behind like the stray cat.
I just don't like cats in general. So
or even like Rogue Squadron, for example, for Star Wars. We knew nothing about it. It came out, didn't sell. So how we feel about this situation. I think it's the opposite for most gamers. games are in such a bad low place right now that like I need to make sure this game is 100% good and I'm gonna like it before I spend any kind of money, because I've been let down for the last 10 years in gaming pretty much.
Yeah.
Gaming is just so stale that like if there's no trailer out or any kind of special gameplay mechanic that's shown, it's just not gonna sell.
Stray is a great story. Maybe there's a story I didn't know.
I sure does. I had no clue that story.
Yeah, but see, it's weird. I know, me too. It's kind of weird because it's like contradicting Matt. It's like story doesn't matter, and then it's like you want the trailer to kind of hook you just a little bit, but we don't want it to tell us. Yeah, but we also don't want it to tell us everything. You know what I mean? Like, it's weird. There's one movie in particular that got me so heated. Remember Suicide Squad? Was it Suicide Squad? The first one?
Which one? The first one?
The first one? When they had all this like Joker, it was crazy. Everybody's like, this movie's going to be killer.
Yeah, they cut everything.
They cut everything out, but didn't change the trailer. That's one of the times I was like, man, this is why I got to stop watching trailers. You know what I mean? Like, I'm getting my hopes up. And I think the movie wasn't that great, but I think I would have liked it a little more if I was like, yo, where's this scene at? Where's that scene at?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So on the contrary to what Andrew's saying, I can think of one trailer specifically where everyone watched it, and because they didn't know what was going on, they automatically hated it and had a bad taste in their mouth, and that was the Eternals. When the first Eternals trailer came out, even the second and the third, they told us nothing other than these people are here on Earth. And I personally like that. But I know the majority of people were like, this, what are they doing here? Why are they here? And it's like, well, the movie's going to show you that. But they want those answers before they go see it to know if they're going to be hooked or not. So I think it's just, I'm not trying to toot my own horn. It's not even a good thing. It could be a bad thing sometimes. But I understand film to in my opinion, it's like a different degree of the casual moviegoer. Sometimes it makes good movies to me seem terrible. Sometimes it makes terrible movies seem good. Like I'm not giving a good example because I don't have it top of my head right now. But
Tenet, like a lot of people didn't like Tenet.
Loved it.
It was fantastic.
Rise of Skywalker, it was hated on, but from a cinematic point of view, that was a damn good movie.
That was beautiful.
Yeah. So because of that, there are some movies and some things that like, or trailers, for example, I act differently. I know Eternals was made by like an indie director. I knew that she was going to have this tone. Therefore, that trailer didn't bother me. But the average moviegoer needs to be hooked. They need to be, you know what I mean? They need to be roped in pretty much on the first go around. So, there are, I will say, teaser trailers. I think are great how they are. They usually have a lot to be desired right after. Like for any film, like there's a movie that's coming out called Elemental by Pixar. Their teaser trailer. There was just a song and she was walking down the subway and it looked beautiful, and
it looks beautiful.
A splash of water got in her and she got hurt, and that was where the trailer ended. And I was like, no, I need to see more of this because I want this looks really good. And the trailer came out I think a couple of days ago, like the actual trailer, and the world looks beautiful. They build upon like them two meeting, and now I'm hooked with like, okay, I'm already a Pixar fan, but I'm this movie looks like it's gonna be one of Pixar's best in years. I'm all in now on this one. And the teaser trailer was done well enough, not revealing anything, to get me interested 6 months later. And now the trailer is doing a good enough thing to get me hooked on. Okay, I want to see how this plays out. And yeah, so I don't think it's a good or a bad thing. I think the bad thing is the surrounding nature of not social media, but like YouTube, for example, of like content. needing content out. And even if I'm reaching, like I think someone's pregnant when they're not, I'm still gonna put it out because it needs to be talked about.
That is true.
Just wait.
So
So like I said, I'm gonna try to stay away from trailer for Jedi Survivor because I want to relive that experience. Like I'm gonna say the part in Hogwarts that like I just was not expecting. That was just so cool. Like not even from just like a gameplay, but like we talked about earlier, like gameplay, music, like atmosphere. Like I had no idea that this was coming, and it was so cool. And it was the Pensieve Guardian. Like,
that was a hard fight too.
I was like, It was so good. Like I was at loss for like everything.
Yeah, dude. I after that was over, I got up and I felt like accomplished. I was like, "Let's go!" You know,
but it just
I'm ready to take the
I don't
world
think
on.
they
Man.
showed anything of that in any trailer, and it was so cool. And it was like, this is cool. Like, this is in here. Like, this is happening. Like, and it's not like a Harry Potter lore or anything. It's completely new concept. Was cool. It just was the atmosphere, music. The music's freaking awesome.
Yeah,
like you feel.
To me, that's the most important thing of anything. If the music and score is good.
Yeah, that game is. I definitely need to go back and replay it, but like trying to hit everything. Right now, I just want to do the story. But yeah, it's a good game.
Yeah, so we'll leave it there. I just know that the Pensive Guardian, that orb, will be gone in no time with me. So let's position and transition over to our game. We're gonna go a little early in the game today because last 2 weeks have gone a little longer for the game. Steven, I hope it's a drawn out game because I'm giving extra time to it. So it's without further ado, our game peasant of the week is Mr.
Like
Khan, Steven Courier. Have at it. What's your game? And let's go.
All right. So this one's not going to be too crazy. We're just going to be getting some laughs and some giggles and you know what I mean? Talking some BS. We're going to be playing Would You Rather. So they're going to be situational things. In the comments, if you think Matt is full of crap, put Matt full of crap. If you think Andrew is spot on, put Andrew spot on. Or what you would take or what you would say, yeah, you're crazy. I would never do that. I have a couple of them. There's going to be about like 10, and we're just going to kind of go through them. If they're funny, we'll keep talking. If they're not, they're not. It looks like Matt needed to do some stuff real quick. So we'll hit up a shotgun intro. Did you happen to see Clayface is going to be the new villain for Batman? Did you see that?
I did see that.
Yeah. So do you think it's going to be OG Clayface with the whole, cake coming down, or do you think it's going to be like they go back in time?
Sorry, my son needed a towel. He's in the bath.
No, you're good, man. Yeah, I just think they're gonna do the OG Clayface about like where he was going around killing.
We didn't talk about
cast. That. Yeah, let's talk about the real fast before it.
Yeah, I heard about that. Clayface. Yes, he was not officially confirmed by like Matt Reeves or anything like that, or even DC. But there is news of like a Clayface movie coming out, and then the next day there was confirmation of like inner sources that Clayface they didn't say it's going to be the main villain, but it's going to be in Batman Part 2. So let's talk about Mr. Clayface. Let's talk about. Let me say one thing real quick about this whole situation. I like Clayface. Okay,
Mr. Freeze or
I like Clayface. I like the ability for there to be a character that can just disguise himself. Disappointed if that's going to be the main villain. If he's the main villain, disappointed because if they can start building now in the Court of Owls stuff for the next 5 years, and I think it'd be a perfect arch. I just don't think Clayface is going to be anything crazy. The problem with 3 villains in that movie is going to be overcrowded. I don't want I want one solid villain, and then
I feel like they had 3 villains in the last one and it worked.
No, not really.
I thought they only had 2. The gangster boss and they had Penguin. That's true.
He's not a villain. He's not a villain in this film. Stop.
But if they put him, Clayface, like
stop.
So
he's not a villain in that movie.
Here's my thoughts about Clayface. Clayface, in my opinion, is a pretty underrated Batman villain.
Slept on.
Batman has some great villains, but if they could take this, and because the Matt Reeves Batman is very dark, if they gave this Clayface character like a really sinister, almost horror-esque film to where he can transform into anybody, keep Batman guessing, having Batman look over his shoulder because he doesn't trust anybody because he's seen this. I think that could play out really, really cool. And I think there's a difference from Clayface that we get comic-wise versus like the big scary mound monster that you see.
It's not going to be that, obviously. Yeah, no. Yeah, the shape-shifting ability is going to be there. Let me address real quick what I said about the Penguin, okay? I'm not stupid. I know he's a Batman villain, okay? He wasn't a villain in that film. It's the same way the Joker was not a villain in that film. Just because they're in the movie doesn't mean they were a villain in the movie. It's not how it works.
True. He is a villain, but he's just
He
not
is a
that
villain.
movie's villain. Yeah, I get it.
He's not even an antagonist. He does
I
nothing.
mean, they had
He
3
does-
villains in it though.
He
Yeah, but,
does
and they have
absolutely
a drive
nothing.
race scene where he's chasing him down. But
He
we'll
does
take that out
nothing
of there.
wrong in that movie. I would go as far to say that he was an ally Batman at one point in that film. But go ahead.
All right, my take on this is, I do agree with you, Andrew. I hope they do kind of go dark with this. I hope they bring the Silver Age Clayface with a little hint of the animated. I like the Silver Age Clayface with where he was going around killing the actors and actresses that were redoing his movies in like.
That's the trench coat Clayface with the hat.
Yeah, that's the original one. Yeah. I hope they kind of add that in with the darkness, but then like what Matt said, or Andrew was saying, like, I wish he's like disfigured. I hope something happened to him. Because I know in the animated he's using the makeup and it kind of like destroys his face and then he kind of turns into it. But I hope they kind of use a little bit of both, but make him where Batman's kind of looking for like all these actresses are starting to die. You know what I mean? Like the famous actresses and actors in Gotham or end up dying, and he kind of puts 2 and 2 together. It's like former actor. I think that would be super cool, but I really pray that he's not the main villain. I don't want him to be.
That's what I'm saying. I don't need to be the main guy.
I want them to really get into. I think the Court of Owls is a little too early because he doesn't
establish it.
Yeah, you could definitely establish it because we don't also want this movie to drag out 13 years until we get to a climax. Like I don't want it to be. I don't want to watch Batman year 2, year 3, year 4. I don't want to watch that.
I would love it personally, but go ahead.
So the reason I think Clayface could work even if he is because you have a very detective Batman in this story, and this would be a hard person to crack, like detective wise. Like he'd have to get creative of someone who could literally change his appearance.
Every single character, every single one. You can pick any Batman villain outside maybe Bane as a detective-based character. So I don't want that BS, okay? Anyone you can have a good detective storyline, go for it. Any single one of them outside of Bane. Mr. Freeze could be a great detective story. Hush could be a damn good detective story.
Oh, yeah. Great.
Clayface could be like anybody you do could be a good detective film for Batman outside of maybe the Joker and Bane. That's because that they're so outlandishly different from the crowd, they can't really blend in as much. But like the whole detective thing, like I get the argument for it. Clayface is like a master in disguise kind of a thing, but how cliche of a detective thing is that? Oh, find the guy that's amongst the crowd. Like, come on, that's not original to detective work.
It's the detective movie, though.
I think they're gonna do. I hope they go Freeze, to be honest with you, but not calling him Mr. Freeze Arnold Schwarzenegger, where he's like some like glow in the dark toy Buzz Lightyear looking figure. I really want him to be more because Mr. Freeze is the only character where you're kind of rooting for the guy after you find out like he's just trying to. Yeah, dude. Like in some of the Batman games, he's not a good guy, but he's not a bad guy. Sometimes he's helping you, sometimes he's not. I think that storyline would be one that pulls on the heart. So you have the heart being pulled, and then you have this Clayface guy killing people. Like you get your emotions and your, you know what I mean, like the horror of it. I think that's pretty cool. I really hope they tie something in with Arkham. I'm a huge Arkham fan. I love that. But yeah, I'm waiting for the movie. So
part of the problem is for me with Batman, and live action
the best
films.
Superhero of all time.
No, second best is cool. That's fine. Biggest IP for sure. Besides Spider-Man. So
Trash.
So what I'm trying to say is his main villains, like pick one. Pick any of his main 3 or 5 villains. They're so outlandish. That, like,
Penguin. You know what I mean?
This whole detective thing is difficult to do because they're so outlandishly freakish and different, and freak accents happen to them. Like that's the problem with Batman films when they come to live action films. Like you want a detective movie, but they're freakishly different characters.
Court of Owls.
That's my point. That's what I'm trying to get to. Is that like the Court of Owls are an underground? Just imagine the storyline of Bruce thinking he got the corrupt, underneath politician stuff out of the way, and then goes back 5 years from now and is like, oh, there's an entire organization that was even under them that supersedes this city. So it's just difficult for me. The detective Batman film was great. They really did a good job of like bringing Riddler back down to like reality, not the freaking.
Yeah.
We're only in this
Jim
Batman.
Carrey.
Yeah, exactly.
Riddle me this. Black is blue, and you're just like, really? Come on, dog.
I'm glad they did that with him. It's just some of these characters you can't. Clayface you can't do that with. Penguin you can't do that with really. Mr. Freeze like you really can't like make him not stick out from the crowd.
Yeah, dude.
Joker obviously like it's just his main core villains they're not like blending in. So therefore the detective film that everyone wants without giving us Court of Owls is it's just going to be difficult to do that for more than 2 movies, I would say. Maybe even 3. I think they're better off having like a Joker this one. Like this is going to be like the Joker film and then lead into Riddler versus Joker Battle of Gotham, like Gotham Wars kind of thing where Batman interjects and then leading into the Court of Owls with that as well. So that to me would be the cleaner path. I'm glad they're saying Clayface is in it and not the villain. I'm glad about that for sure. But it's cool. The more characters, not the more characters, the better.
Clayface.
The more well done characters, the better.
I don't know why I always thought Clayface was a cool
dude. And in Marvel a couple years back, he's actually homies with Batman. He's part of the Bat family. It's weird that Clayface becomes the homie. You know what I mean? So that'd be kind of cool too. If I think they're gonna. If I have to do my little, I'm throwing it in there with what I think is gonna happen. I think Clayface is gonna be the main person that Batman's kind of trying to the distraction, and then there's going to be somebody else, and then I think he's going to have like they're going to do Clayface in a way where Batman's going to walk past them like 100 times because he's going to be changing his face. Batman's not going to put 2 and 2 together, and then he's going to realize that he's been talking to him the whole time. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of Clayface. I think they're going to go.
Yeah, with. I guess now that you say it, Matt, I feel like we've gotten that aspect of it too, even from Batman Begins, where Ra's al Ghul ends up not being Ra's al Ghul, and there's that twist. So that's a fair argument.
I hope he's in it. Clayface. There's seldom bad Batman villains. Okay, let's be real here. It just some of them aren't made for like a film, and the one single villain that is one, you have this great portrayal of him just like 10, 15 years ago, and 2, you don't want to just rush into him when you're trying to build a overarching franchise. So it's just until they get like to that storyline, it's going to be difficult for them to like really, really, really hook them the way that they did the first film. The first film is going to be special for until they get to Court of Owls. Nothing will surpass that first film in this franchise, I think.
So yeah, I agree with Matt. The villains are either over the top or they're really like dark. Like the ventriloquist, I can't say that name, with Scarface, the little puppet. Yes. And then they have another one where he's like, it's I can't remember the dang guy's name, where it's like this guy who dresses up like a pig. He kills people and chops up their bodies. Mr. Pig, I can't remember his name. I don't know.
Pig.
I'm pretty sure it is. Pig. Little butcher guy, right?
Yeah, he has like a honk.
He has the pig face on.
Yeah, I think those villains are dope. I just think they're a little too dark for Batman, especially like noticing that my kids didn't want anything to do with watching this Batman. I was like kind of upset, but I was like, hell yeah, that means that they're getting Batman into like the nitty gritty. You know what I mean? So I'm all in for it. Let's keep it pushing with new interpretations of over the top villains. You know what I mean? Like the Riddler. I think they nailed the Riddler in this one.
Yeah, I think one of the best things that they did, and this is the final note for the Riddler, is they made it relatable. Like he's not
a real person.
He's not somebody that's sucking people's brains through their TV. He's like a real person who just has a plan and
burning up on Twitter. Just
and I think it would be cool to see like a Clayface version of that, where it's like real. Yes, he has the ability to change shape, but it's like a real character kind of thing.
Yeah, because dude, Batman walked to like 12 of these fights in this movie. You know what I mean? Like they're not going for. I know it's a Batman movie and they're not going over the top, but at the same time, I don't want them to go so fantasy where like the real part is kind of gone. I know it's Batman, it's a superhero movie, so it's not real, but like Batman showed up on a scooter to 2 of the fights. You know what I mean? Like I'm cool with them trying to keep it like this could really happen.
Realistic.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm sure we'll get like a 2-year time jump or something like that.
For sure.
It's not going to be straight after the last thing. But we'll table that there. I think we all pretty much agree on Clayface. We like him, just don't know if we want to see him as the main guy. Steven, back to your game.
All right, back to the game. That is good too. Point, Matt or Brian. Thanks for throwing that in the comments. So back to the game. We're gonna do Would You Rather. There's gonna be some stupid ones, some easy ones. To be honest with you, I was super busy this week. My kids' school projects, kids going back to school. Just jiu-jitsu kind of burned me out this week. So we're going at it. All right.
So that everyone knows he doesn't do jiu-jitsu. His children do.
Establish it.
Yeah.
He didn't
this
go.
back like 3 days.
His kids off.
Yeah, I dropped my kids off and I'm like, yeah, Anyways, all right. First one here. This one is going to be for both of you. We'll go with Matt first on this one. Would you rather have the strength of Superman, but to use your strength, you have to be butt naked? Or would you be able to fly, but you have to be yelling the whole time, like screaming at the top of your lungs to make yourself fly? What would you rather be?
Okay, is my physique also Supermanish?
No, just what you look like right now.
Okay, I'll take the super strength and I'll be naked.
Same.
Yeah,
Okay.
What is someone gonna tell me when I'm butt naked launching
a freaking building into space?
Yeah.
So I was thinking, what would I do? Would I go the other way and be like, you know what I mean? Like,
no, you're
how
in your mind,
embarrassing would that be? And what happens if you get up there and you're just like,
and what if you're not a fast flyer?
That is true. That is a good one.
Yeah. No, I think super strength. I think Homelander and I think Omni-Man from Invincible. I think they just don't care because they can do whatever they want, and so
True.
I'm of the same mindset in that situation.
But what kind of conversation are you having with somebody when you're like you're at Costco, you're walking, and all of a sudden a car pins a girl against another car, and they're like, "Matt, you have superpowers, save him!" And Matt's like, "Give me a second," and he just starts getting naked.
No. That wasn't part of the criteria. Okay,
you know what I mean?
If I have Superman strength, that's his quick rip off, real quick.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like me undressing quickly. It's I'm as fast as Superman, and I'm going. Have you ever seen the
cartoons? You just have the strength, so you're just Bruce Almighty
taking the jet out of their hat, and like the hat's still spinning in the air. That's what it'd be for me. Like I'm going, and my stuff's off my body.
I don't care. I'd take it off slow, anyways.
That would be fun.
Though. My response would be going to pick up a car.
My response would be, well, what are you doing to help? Watching me get naked.
Yeah.
My response would be, you like what you see?
They would say no.
And then you go to jail. All right, this one's not as funny, but I just thought this would be super annoying. Would you rather eat every steak for the rest of your life with a spoon and not just a regular house spoon, or for the rest of your life have to eat ice cream in your hand?
Do I still get a knife?
With ice cream?
No, with the steak.
With a steak.
Oh, did I say a knife? I meant a spoon.
No, I still get a knife?
But you get a knife and a spoon.
No, you only get a spoon.
Oh, I'll take a steak. That's easy. Steak.
So you're going steak. You're going to be in a restaurant. You're sitting there just like.
It's not even close. I'm taking a steak.
So I'm going ice cream.
You're dumb. You're an idiot.
Because honestly, I don't really eat ice cream.
You're stupid. Can you imagine going to Dairy Queen and they're like,
yeah.
Honestly, I try to actively avoid going to Dairy Queen, so it doesn't matter to me.
I will pick Bahama Bucks.
It's not ice cream.
It's in the same class.
Give it to me in the hand. Snowball
it. And how about this part, huh? Ice cream cake. You're gonna have to do something different about that now.
Yeah, I'll reach my hand in. That scene from
it's more normal for me to eat with my hands with the steak than it is for you ice cream with your hands. If I'm at a restaurant with a spoon, I can just with my hand, and it's not as weird as you just picking up your ice cream ball and eating it in your hand.
But I'm telling you, for me, the amount of times that I'm eating ice cream, it's really not gonna matter.
Yeah, I just think it looks weird on both angles when you're like at Shula's Steakhouse and you're just like you pick up the steak and you're just like, you know what I mean? Like that looks super weird.
That's my exact point. Shula's, it's so tender, I'm cutting right through it with a toothpick. That's how tender steaks were. They just fall apart.
All right, so we're going on to the next one.
I fought a lion, right? Treatment for respect on this place.
Okay, next one is going to be if you were going to be the first person to meet aliens for the first time, would you rather the alien be robotic or organic? And it can talk to you. So would you rather it be like the conversation you come up the spaceship opens, would you rather it be like a plant looking thing walk down that can speak English, or would you rather it be a robot? What do you feel more comfortable with?
I mean, that'd be tripping balls either way.
True.
I
Today,
guess
Chef.
I'd probably go with robot. Like,
Why is that?
the robot just seems like artificial. Like, it doesn't necessarily mean aliens. It could be like someone from the future.
Oh, it's an alien. Quit! It's some loopholes. This is an alien. A
It's an
robotic
alien.
alien.
Okay.
It could be my long lost cousin from the future. No, it's an alien.
It's
So-
an alien. I don't know.
But if it's robot, it's like, okay, they're not here. This is a form. This is like a robot. It could be a different, like, I don't know. I feel like an alien would be a little bit easier to take in versus like something with like 6 tentacles coming out of its ear. Like,
You ever seen Chicken Little? Like the movie Chicken Little?
yeah.
Okay,
I
you know how
have.
like they thought the robots at first were the aliens? That like it's not like it's impossible that they're gonna be robotic. No, it's not.
So-
They're aliens.
So when he said that, I'm thinking of like the orb thing from the horrible sequel to Independence Day.
Right, well, I'm thinking of a robotic being that is sentient and can think on its own.
I'm like chat GP 12.
I don't know that's pretty plain English for you. Like
I think I'm going. Oh, go for it, Matt.
Yeah.
the organism for sure.
So if it's an organism, what do you want it to? Do you want it to be a bug-looking thing, a tree, or like a blob?
Bug looking thing.
I hope
No, no, like this-
I hope they'd be fairly close to how we look. Like not
Yeah.
anything crazy or different. But organism, because there is a sense of weakness in an organism usually, which means that I
Yeah.
can either outsmart it, possibly.
Here we go.
Possibly.
We got
Yeah,
Fly in
we
part
got the
2
clip
coming.
No. You guys aren't listening. There's a 0 or maybe like a 0.1% chance that a robot who is a robot,
Why'd you say it like that? A
That-
robot?
that a robot who is sentient, one probably has maximum amount of power, like strength wise. It's really hard to get out of machinery. That's the first thing. Two, probably thinks of every possible complex solution and logic to an issue,
That's
which
true.
means that they can't be that smart in any way whatsoever. That's it. That's all we have. So, an organic being, there's room for error. A lot of room for error. One, not that I'm the biggest, most strong guy in the world,
You fought
Just
a
there-
lion.
It's on the line.
but there are guys not as strong as me, or if I'm stuck with them in a dungeon, I can probably beat them. I'm taking my chances that if I'm seeing an alien, I'm not saying I can or that like I'm going to, but the chances there that I can outmuscle an alien, and the chances there that I can outsmart and outmaneuver a non-robotic being. Why is this so crazy to you? Like this is logical thinking here. There's no room for error in a robot. There's a ton of room for error for a thinking organism. A ton.
I agree with you. I'd rather have the organism because then I have a chance. That thing knows death. The alien doesn't. So he knows what's up.
If that organism hasn't seen Creed 3 and I have, it's a wrap for him. I'll tell you that much right now.
Oh my god! 'Cause I own it on Blu-ray, boys.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Showing him hands.
Showing that Majors pack real
Hey,
quick.
let me show you something.
Yeah.
Look at this. All right.
Exactly.
So this one's a pretty funny one since we talked about Star Wars. Would you rather, for the rest of your life, talk like Yoda or breathe like Darth Vader?
Mouth breathing
Uh,
syndrome.
What would you rather do?
I can breathe fine, right? It's loud, like Darth Vader, right? That's what
Yeah,
saying?
you just give me.
Yeah, I'm not struggling for breath though, right?
You're not struggling for breath. You just
Yeah.
sound like you are. You know what I mean?
I'll talk like Yoda for sure. I watch way too many films in a theater to be the whole time during a movie.
That is so true.
Not to
Your
mention my
wife would
wife
kill
would like
you.
divorce me immediately. Yeah, exactly. So I'm taking the Yoda talk because at least then I sound like enlightened and,
Yeah.
and more
Or
wisdom.
just like an idiot.
No, people think Yoda sounds like a pretty enlightened person actually. So continue on. Bum.
Yeah, I do Yoda as well. I can't
Yeah.
stand mouth breathers, man. Hey, look who it is!
Yo, he has done it.
He
I
has.
done
broke the man.
Oh, let's
I think
go.
actually, I
Been
think
broken.
it was actually me this week when I posted it in the other Discord server.
Mm.
I need confirmation from the man himself. I'm pretty sure
Yeah,
that
who's
the
Why
one
are
time
you here?
I'm just saying the one
Why?
time I sent a link, he is here. We can continue. He can comment on it as we go.
Yo, and also to follow, man. We appreciate that. Okay, so I had a funny one, but this kind of made no sense. Would you rather have nobody show up to your wedding or nobody show up to your funeral? There's an easy answer to this.
I'll let Andrew go first.
Yes, Andrew, answer this for me, please.
The timing of the Discord.
Bingo.
So if we're talking wedding, nobody showing up means absolutely nobody. It's just you by yourself.
No, you and your wife.
Well, your wife.
Give that.
Okay, because I was gonna say it'd be pretty awkward if you're expecting your wife to show up and she doesn't show up.
You're just like, yo, this is great. Just pay 20 grand for this. Yeah, she's there. She's just you and her, but there's no priest, no nothing. Just you guys. Or would you rather have no one?
I'd probably go wedding. Like, I feel like it'd be pretty disrespectful to have nobody show up after you kick the bucket. Like, you got to do some things pretty wrong to have nobody show up and be like, "We miss you."
Yeah. Like fried a lion in front of kids at a zoo. You know what I mean?
Like, that's a good point.
I think what the person in the chat's missing here is that we don't know that no one's coming. We pay for a wedding and no one shows up. that kind of thing. Like it's like no one RSVPs, therefore we don't gotta pay. It's like it's wedding day.
You're paying for 200
and no one shows up. I would be pretty upset, as Mr. Chat here said, if I paid for a bunch of plates and nobody came to eat. That being said, I'd be pretty, not that I'd be here to notice, but I'd be pretty sad if I knew
looking down and just nobody.
Like I'm floating out of the coffin. I'm like, let's see who's here.
Like, IHOP eating.
Yeah, no music, just dead quiet in like the chapel. I'm gonna take the funeral part. I'm either on to a bigger, better place where I'm happy anyway, or I'm suffering regardless. So,
dude,
I mean, let's put it into perspective. The things you'd have to do to get nobody to show up, you probably wouldn't care if they didn't show up anyways.
Yeah. I'm going with the funeral too. I really don't care if I'm dead. Yeah, I'm not gonna know. You know what I mean?
Kids though, man, like, but kids don't even show up.
To answer the question in the chat, does your food spending change from the wedding to funeral? Maybe not. But I'm not here to pay for it this time. Someone else has paid for the funeral food.
Coming out of somebody else's pocket.
Yeah.
All right. This is my last one. This one I thought was funny. I really was going to add it, but I thought it was hilarious. Would you rather be, it's 10 hours. Would you rather be in an elevator with 5 like really hyped clowns? Like they're fully dressed as clowns. They're going to the 5th floor to go do a performance and they're jacked up on Mountain Dew and Red Bull. And they're ready to go 10 hours
for a performance. That's
you're stuck with them for 10 hours.
Going to one hotel room for a performance is nasty business, by the way.
Yes. Or would you hey, Andrew and Matt, who is your celebrity crush? Celebrity crush. Let's go right here.
Ryan
Reynolds. You who?
He said Ryan Reynolds.
Without hesitation.
Yeah.
Steven
I know.
Mine.
I met her. She's nice.
Just a month ago.
Yeah, what's up, girl? Vanessa Hudgens. You're in there with Vanessa Hudgens, man. Yeah, you're in there. Yeah. You're in there with her, but you're there for 10 hours. Yeah. But an hour before you're getting in that elevator, you had Filiberto's, and you're going to be gassed. I'm talking about when but let's say just to say gas because I don't want to get crazy with it. But it's going to be the ones where you're just like, man, somebody light a candle. One of those. Would you rather be in an elevator for 10 hours with the clowns, or 10 hours with bad gas with Vanessa Hudgens? Which one are you picking?
Well, Andrew, it's somebody else. But listen, was it gonna? Doubt me yet again. I'm about to find a clown and whoop his ass. Give me the 5 clowns because I've seen Winter Soldier. Okay, I know how to do exactly what Cap did in that when he had 10 guys in there jumping in. So if they even come near me, no shield needed. If they even come near me, I'm sitting there like, anybody want to leave before the party starts? And then just wham, it's a wrap for them. And thus I look, and that creates 2 things for me now. My celebrity crush: 1, no embarrassment; 2, I'm now in a headline whooping 5 clowns' asses in the hotel she's in, so she knows I'm there whooping 5 clowns' asses, Captain America style. Okay, give me the 5 clowns. I'm holding my own. I have now seen Winter Soldier and Creed 3. I can't be stopped.
And it really on a full-grown male lion.
Yeah,
knocked him out cold. Instagram.com/SlightlyUnqualified.
I'm probably going the clowns. Like, it sucks. Like, I know it's just gonna be pure torture.
Yes,
but I also think, like, if you're talking like gas, like, there's gonna be like a solid few hours where you're trying to hold it in, and your stomach's gonna be like so uncomfortable, like physical pain, like you're shaking, like you're feeling sweaty, you start
panicking.
I think there needs to be a precedent here for you, though, Andrew. Who's your celebrity crush?
I honestly can't think of anybody off the top of my head like right now.
It's because your wife is watching. Can you please?
It's not my wife is watching.
Not watch for the next.
She's behind the green screen with a gun.
You guys see my chest starts poking up as the sword starts to go in. No, honestly, I can't think of anybody right now. Like, the first name that popped into my head was Ryan Reynolds, which is so stupid.
Like,
but like,
you're a sick man.
You're a sick man.
Even, all right, let's just say hypothetically. Let's say it's Ryan Reynolds. I probably would still be embarrassed to fart in front of him.
Yeah, dude,
he would join in.
Yeah, maybe. But like, to preface it though, if I'm stuck with the clowns for 10 hours, like, I'm probably on the floor, like my hands in my item, like, it's not good.
Yeah, those clowns are getting whooped.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I am gonna say the clowns are definitely getting beat up.
And don't you know, Andrew, Steven drops his kids out to jiu-jitsu every single day. He's prepared for the situation.
Right? How many times? You know what I mean?
He's got that chair jiu-jitsu.
Chair jitsu.
Choke him out. Whip him. Yeah, definitely. So that's all I had on my end was, would you rather? If that was a little nice way to break up the great games my colleagues have been bringing up. But yeah, that's what I had.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the conclusion of our episode. I think we conclude Andrew's an idiot, and that Matthew can fight a lion, and that Jack Skellington still was the worst pick that ever been made in this history.
Okay, hold on. Before we finish, we have an unbiased third party in the chat right now.
He's not unbiased.
What?
He's not unbiased.
You think he's gonna? Okay, ask him the question about the lion and see if he thinks.
The question's been answered.
He's
been slain. He's been knocked out. If you want to see it, Instagram.com/SlightlyUnqualified. And you can see me literally knock out a lion. I don't know how else. It's evident. I don't know how else to make it more clear. Yes. Probably in this same shirt, actually.
But you're gonna need to go quick because Peter's coming at Matt pretty hard. For doing what he did. You know what I mean?
Plus I eat steak, and on top of that. So we'll leave it there. We'll table it. Mr. Stockish Kekish, welcome to the future of podcasting. Everyone, thank you for a great episode. Next week we're gonna have Andrew be the game loser, and he's still trying to win up my beautiful poorly explained plot game. I think one of these great games. One of these weeks we're gonna come to a full circle where he just steals my game on accident, quote unquote, and tries to claim it as his own.
You know what's sad is, like, literally, I was just thinking, like, maybe I should play that game next week. Like, literally right now.
Can I throw a pitch out there to you for thinking about next week that I was gonna do for my week, but I'll give you a freebie on this one.
Right, give me the layup.
Okay, you know how we do drafts?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the drafts we do are too obvious. Okay, let's do drafts on things that are different. Give me an example. Let's do a draft next week about the best word for the word money.
Ooh.
Or let's do a draft for the most perfectly named thing, like a spoon, right? Like that's perfectly named, or like a boob, like a boob is perfectly named. Yeah. So like
Definitely.
that was gonna be one of my games
That's a
in
good
2
one.
weeks.
That's
So
good one. I like that.
if you think of a good topic that's like out of the realm of things,
you keep that one for you.
then
I'm gonna come up.
No, that's a
with
good
one.
game, Matt. That's a
Yeah,
good one.
keep that
Like
one.
Yeah.
you could be like, we'll come back to it. We'll put a stamp
I
in
bow.
that. That's good.
And let's say ta-ta, I'm the game master.
No,
Anyways,
no.
folks,
All right,
have
bro,
a good
us
night.
out of here.
Have a good night. Have a good evening. Have a good morning. Whatever it is, whatever you watch us, how you watch us. Thank you for watching, subscribing,
Follow.
click download, hit the RSS feed that you want to do. Watch me fight a lion, Instagram.com/slightly unqualified. Adios. Have a good night, and we will see y'all later.